and raised strong reactions due to the lukewarm reception he received in Embu County. This has sparked speculation about whether the president is deliberately avoiding Mount Kenya in favor of focusing on the Nyanza and Western regions. Martin Opio dissects the issue, analyzing whether the president has found a new political base and what this shift means for his relationship with Mount Kenya residents.
When President William Ruto was elected, he made several trips to the Mount Kenya region, most of them to attend church services in various counties or to launch development projects.
Yes, you consider delivering from this end.
Ruto's affection for the region culminated in a Thanksgiving event for Mount Kenya residents who had voted for him. The event was held at Sagana State Lodge, where residents feasted. Things seemed to go awry shortly after his former deputy Rigathi Gachagua was ousted, and the region felt aggravated and turned hostile. Since Gachagua's removal, President Ruto has only returned to the area once, during a church service in Embu, where the reception was anything but warm. His visits to the region have noticeably reduced over time.
Kenya people are using Gachagua to show their resentment against William Ruto. It's not that they like him. When time comes to choose the leader, it won't be Gachagua. You get me? Just like Barnabas was used to mock Jesus Christ. But when redemption came, who redeemed the world?
I think the president is clever enough to do things differently. And one thing I want to say here, because I know sometimes we may say things and people ask why we are saying that. I may predict the president will be going to Mount Kenya, but not oftenly. At the same time, the president would like to see those projects that stalled in Mount Kenya complete.
Analysts suggest several reasons for Ruto's avoiding Mount Kenya. One major and obvious reason is his strained relationship with his former deputy, Gachagua, whose ouster angered local residents, posing the question as to whether the president fears the growing open opposition and discontent.
You cannot give him leadership just because your son and people hate him. So Mount Kenya is guarding their son as their son, and that is justifiable, and they should do it.
When you talk about government criticism, it is not the enemy which is supposed to criticize the government. It is those people who voted for the government. So if you voted for the government, you need to criticize this if you feel the government is not doing well. But if the enemies comes together and want to criticize the government, they bring anger, and they also want vengeance for the things probably that never went well in the past.
Political observers also highlight unrealized promises as another possible factor deterring Ruto from visiting the region as frequently as before. A recent planned 3-day tour of the region was cancelled owing to what insiders termed as intel on plans to disrupt the tour.
Mount Kenya was meant to rebel against the president because the president overpromised them things they could not do. He promised them economy. Mount Kenya works on tangible things. So tangible, like the business should thrive, the business environment should work. They are importers, they are traders, they are farmers, the Mau Mau Road. And they have given him enough time and discovered that he can't do, he won't do, he is not able of doing, and he'll never do.
The president's popularity in the mountain appears to be on the decline. Recently, former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua alleged that the government was using the outlawed Mungiki group to undermine him, a claim analysts see as part of a broader political strategy.
Wamekuja hapa 31st. Huyo kiongozi ametangaza mchana that amepewa kazi na serikali ya kuzunguka katika mlima Kenya to force the people to accept the president and his deputy and to escort the leaders ambayo wamekataliwa na watu wakuje mashinani.
Meanwhile, President Ruto has been making multiple trips to Nyanza and Western region in what is seen as an attempt to court new voter bases. However, the lingering question of whether Raila Odinga will secure the chairmanship of the African Union Commission AUC continues to hover over Ruto's political ambitions for 2027. Analysts argue that Ruto's outreach to Nyanza may be short-lived since the region has little to gain from his Kenya Kwanza administration and remains a difficult area to win over, terming it as a temporary political lifeline.
Ruto wants what's called political oxygen, because now, if you go to Mount Kenya, they are shouting at you, isn't it? You go everywhere, you are shouting at you. When you go to Kisumu, they can welcome you. So this is a political oxygen for now, between now and 2027, because for Ruto to go for 2027, he needs to survive between now and 2027. Because 25th of June, he nearly collapsed. But then who brought him back? It's Raila who gave him the oxygen.
I don't think he'll have that energy to campaign and be the president. He would like to see probably Ruto win 2027, and then they have their own plan 2032. Maybe they bring somebody else that they think can work for them.
Adding to Ruto's challenges, the Gen Z generation has become increasingly critical of his governance and is threatening to have their own on the ballot for the 2027 election.
For us, we are looking for alternative leadership. Alternative leadership which will be led by fresh blood, people who do not have legacy issues of corruption, people who are full of integrity, people who can be accountable. We want to professionalize politics in this country, because politics is too serious to live in the hands of career politicians.
Remember, our politics is based on finances. You saw Omutata being forced to actually accept to be a candidate in 2027. And the first thing that he said, he was afraid of the finances, but now he feels like he has gotten some friends to work with. So the same case with Gen Z, the Zuma group. So they'll also need to ask themselves whether they have the muscles.
Ultimately, when President William Ruto and his Kenya Kwanza came to power, they had campaigned on grounds of a Christian-led government and received significant support from the church. However, the church has also recently appeared to distance itself from the administration, following what they termed as unfulfilled promises.
You cannot even convince people. Look at the opinion poll, InfoTrack Harris, shows what? Only 17% approval. Who goes to an election through that? No one has ever won an election with that.
Martin Opio, K24 TV, Nairobi.
As schools reopen across the country, the Juakali sector is experiencing one of its toughest seasons yet, particularly in the sale of school metallic boxes. The traders attribute this downturn to the new education system, with no Form 1 intake expected to take place this year following the transition of students to grade 9. Innocent Ogaro tells us more.
Mkunji Market in downtown Nairobi. We meet Joseph Mungai. Mungai has been a trader at this market for the last 15 years. What will be a season to smile to the bank has turned into agony. Mungai, who is the treasurer of Artisans Kamukunji Market, says this school opening season has been exceptionally tough owing to the lack of Form 1 intake, with learners who will be Form 1 students proceeding to grade 9. According to him, during a typical school reopening season, he will sell over 1,500 boxes per week. This time, however, he has sold only 30 boxes since Sunday.
Lakini vile mwaka huu tumeuona kuna mabadiliko kubwa sana, sababu watu wengi wanategemea sanduku, hasa kupeleka watoto Form 1. Tunakulia sana na inatusaidia, lakini mwaka huu hakuna kazi, kwa hivyo hata ukitazama watu wanakaa hivyo, wanakaa idle. Kwa hivyo tutakuwa pia na ungumu wetu wa kupeleka maiza vile huwa tunapeleka. Wale wanauza sanduku, wa mafundi, wale wanapaka rangi, kila mtu ambaye anahusika na hii. Mwaka huu kuko na kilio kubwa sana.
This is Thomas Mboya, the Secretary General of Artisans at Kamukunji Market. He too shares Mungai's sentiments.
Sababu watoto wanaenda shule, wale watu wa kununua vitu ya chuma saa hii wako wengi, wako kiasi. So na hope tu hapa mbeleni biashara itabadilisha baada ya watoto kufika kwa shule. Lakini kwa saa hii sio vile, iko chini.
Former chairman of the Juakali Artisan Eliud Mbio, who has been in the business for 20 years, tells us that in the past, education sponsors will purchase school boxes in large quantities to support students joining boarding schools. However, with the number of students heading to boarding schools now reduced, demand has also decreased.
Banks kwanza huwa inatusaidia kwa njia mbili, kutupea loans, na pia banks huwa wanasponsor wanafunzi kuingia Form 1. Banks kama Equity Bank, KCB na banki zingine huwa inasponsor wanafunzi wengi sana kuingia Form 1. Kwa hivyo huwa wanakuja hapa, tunawahusia masanduku kwa jumla na wanaenda kupea hao watoto ambao huwa wanawasimamia. mwaka huu hiyo pesa yote zaidi ya masanduku 1,100 na sasa hatutauza. Hiyo ni pesa ambayo hatutagusa hii mwaka. Kwa hivyo kuna changamoto kubwa sana.
Many of the traders we talked to say the situation has severely affected their businesses.
Sasa biashara iko lakini iko chini. So iko chini sababu watoto wale wamefanya class 8, this time hawajafanya class 8. Sasa tulikuwa tunategemea ukifanya KCPE wale wana join form 1 ndio tunawahusia, na this time hakuna mambo ya form 1.
Mambo ya grade 9 imetuletea shida sana kwa sababu saizi tungekuwa na kazi. Hata usiku tunafanya kazi tukilala hapa, lakini saizi hakuna. Angalia masanduku tuko nazo, ni hizi peke yake ndio tuko nazo hapa. Saizi hakuna kazi, tunaweza sema ati tuko na kazi. Kazi iko chini kabisa. Tulikuwa tunategemea na hii kazi tupeleke watoto shule. Hata watoto wetu wengine wamekwama kwa nyumba kwa sababu hatuna pesa.
For now, the hopes of these traders lies with the government and the measures it will put in place to ensure their businesses remain afloat. As first cohort of grade 9 learners settle in classrooms, the heavy shift of economy in Juakali sector paints a different story, from dwindling of profits to disappointments in the new competence-based curriculum. Innocent Ogaro, K24, Nairobi.
As the 2025 academic calendar kicked off today, with learners across the country reporting back to school for the term 1, normalcy has returned at Hillside Academy, which hit the headlines last year following a fatal fire incident which claimed the lives of 21 young learners at the school. Tens of learners reported back to the school in the company of their parents, who expressed a sense of confidence in the school after last year's tragedy. Our reporter, Edwin Bugwa, has more details.
Normalcy has resumed at Hillside Academy in Darasha after about 5 months of uncertainty. On September 5th, 2024, the face of Hillside Academy changed abruptly after a fire tragedy destroyed a dormitory that housed 161 boys. 21 of them died on that ill-fated night. Joseph Kaniuru and Alice Onjiro, who are parents at the institution, called on other parents to set their worries aside as the safety of students has been enhanced.
Mimi kuamua kurudisha watoto wangu hapa ni kuwa shule inasomwa na ni muhimu kurudisha mtoto hapa na aendelee na masomo. So sina wasiwasi kuregesha mtoto hapa.
The owners of Hillside Academy, as they had requested in a case filed in court by 2 human rights organizations claiming threat to the safety and health of the students, have done away with the boarding section, and now the school is served as a mixed day school only.
Nataka kupatia wazazi hopes, niwaambie ni kitu ilipita na saizi ni mwaka mpya, kwa hivyo mtu asiogope. Kama uko nyumbani na unataka mtoto wako aendelee kusomea hapa Hillside, unaweza mleta, kwa sababu hata sisi wenyewe tumerudisha watoto wetu, tumewarudisha tukiwa na big hopes.
Performance itakuwa iko top, hiyo nayo naamini. Juu walimu wenye wako hapa, management iko fiti.
Parents have expressed that they will continue to cooperate with the school management.
Mtoto kusoma si kuwa ati ni boarding, ni bidii ya mtoto na bidii ya mzazi kuregesha mtoto mahali anaona mtoto wako safe.
This comes at a time when schools continue to prepare for junior secondary school. The Nyeri Town MP Duncan Mathenge assured parents that public schools in Nyeri are ready after the completion of classes.
Delighted to be able to first, of course, confirm that Nyeri Town constituency and indeed Nyeri Town county is ready for grade 9, and everything is in place, and we expect that the Teachers Service Commission has concluded the interviews and the recruitment of the grade 9 teachers.
Edwin Mboga, K24.
Kenya is set to tighten the belt on digital lenders and non-deposit taking credit providers through proposed reforms in the Business Laws Amendment Bill 2024. The bill, set to be tabled by the Ministry of Investments, Trade and Industry, seeks to bring the lenders under the direct oversight of the Central Bank of Kenya, introducing stringent consumer protection measures to curb predatory lending practices. David Kagino with more.
Laws Amendment Bill of 2024 includes provisions that mandate full disclosure of debt collection practices and terms, stricter compliance requirements, and penalties for violations. The reforms aim to safeguard borrowers against unfair practices and ensure transparency in Kenya's fast-growing digital lending space. Latest data from the Digital Finance Service Association of Kenya show that digital lenders serve over 8 million Kenyans and lend out between 10 billion and 15 billion monthly. The proposed legislation is now seeking to expand the regulation of digital and non-deposit taking credit lenders to cushion borrowers. Under the proposed amendments to the Central Bank Act, credit providers will now face stricter licensing and operational guidelines. This move, inspired by earlier controversies surrounding digital lenders' practices, including breach of data in loan recovery efforts and high interests, mandates full disclosure of debt collection methods, transparency in loan terms, and regulated interest rates. According to an explainer of the bill by the Central Bank of Kenya, and I quote, "This step ensures consumer protection and guarantees that non-deposit taking credit providers adhere to financial prudence and fairness." End of quote. The bill provides a 6-month compliance period to allow for transition and at the same time rule out the possibility of disrupting credit availability. In addition, consumer protection clauses aim to prevent predatory lending practices by ensuring borrowers are fully informed of their rights and obligations. Beyond lending, the bill also introduces sweeping changes to attract investments, streamline operations for manufacturers, and enhance anti-counterfeit measures. These changes include amending the Standards Act, requiring manufacturers to comply with Kenyan standards, establishment of new laboratories for quality testing, as well as fast-tracked clearance for imports. The move is aimed to crack down on counterfeit goods and substandard products through stricter oversight. Proposed changes to the Excise Duty Act is believed will encourage the use of reusable packaging to address climate change challenges, while also granting tax exemptions to eco-friendly businesses. As Parliament prepares to debate the bill, stakeholders are watching closely, with the proposed changes set to transform Kenya's business and financial ecosystem. David Kagina, K24 TV, Nairobi.
Well, police in Uasin Gishu County have arrested 3 suspects connected to vandalism of Kenya Power infrastructure in the last 2 months. According to the authorities, 40 transformers valued at 120 million shillings have been vandalized. According to Uasin Gishu County Police Commander Benjamin Mwanthi, a security team comprising of police officers and officials from Kenya Power arrested 2 suspects who were transporting vandalized transformers using a vehicle with a concealed number plate. The 2 led the police to a 3rd suspect believed to be a dealer in Munyaka in Eldoret.
Tumekuwa na issue ya wizi na vandalism ya transformers for the last 2 months. Tumepoteza around 40 transformers worthy around 120 million. But today early in the morning, tulikuwa na bahati tukaweza kupata information from members of public, our officers from Kenya Power. They swiftly acted on the information na wakaweza kupata hii ngari ambayo ukiangalia iko na namba ambayo iko concealed, wamekata namba zingine, the fingers imebaki the numbers KDH, but the fingers wamekata to conceal identity. Nataka kuomba members of public, wananchi, ya kwamba in case wakiona, na especially mahali wananchi wanakaa, stima sikienda over sudden, elia moja ni mzuri sana, waangalie mahali transformer iko na waweze kujulisha Kenya Power officers.
You can imagine we are asking REREC, Kenya Power to give us last mile. And what we witness is the vandalism of the same transformers that have been installed in our own constituencies. What has that done? It has deprived people of electricity in their homes. Some are welders. And in fact, this is economic sabotage. And we want the ODPP together with the county commander and the DCIO to take very stern action against these 5 who have been arrested. It's very unfortunate.
So we've lost a lot, and we are really calling a lot members of public to be vigilant, because this one amounts to, as mentioned, it amounts to economic sabotage.
Break at this point. When we get back with some sports news.
Around hii January tuna survive na maringos, manjoti, mabike, mapopcorns. All the bets up.